Hello there and welcome back to Red Gaming Tech for yet more daily gaming news with myself, Marta. Today is still the 13th of November and this time I'm bringing you some news from Ubisoft as they have recorded a $131 million loss for the first 6 months of the financial year, which represents a 33% year-on-year decline. In the months between April and September, the publisher managed to generate about $400 million in sales, which was actually a slight rise on the same period last year. However, higher costs, which included a $56 million rise in research and development spend, has left them in the red. Total development costs for those 6 months have reached a staggering $185 million. That's half of what they made through sales. Ubisoft has not altered its full-year targets. It does still expect to make about $1.37 billion during the full financial year, in which there will be zero profit and an operating loss of about $74 million. However, Yves Guillemot, the publisher's co-founder and chief executive, has, despite all this, remained optimistic about their future. And he said, quote, "The PS4 and Xbox One will be released in a few days' time and will be a new driving force for the industry. We are confident in our capacity to rise to the short-term challenges posed by the transition phase, thanks to the very high quality of our games, which, combined with the upcoming arrival of the next-generation consoles and the traditional ramp-up of sales during the Christmas season, will trigger positive momentum towards the end of the year." And elsewhere in their financial documents, Ubisoft did reveal that it had cancelled various projects and committed to, quote, "regular releases of our open world franchises." And they also added, finally, that digital sales represented roughly a fifth of total revenue. So there you have it. Ubisoft are kind of in a little bit of trouble, which is not something that I say with any glee or anything at all, really. Ubisoft are one of my favourite developers / publishers, and it's not really a good thing to see them posting such results. Now, of course, such results should be taken with a pinch of salt, but there's absolutely no reason for them to lie and make up a loss. If anything, if they were going to be making up figures, they would be telling everyone that everything's fine and that they're going to be, making lots of money and everything's fine and dandy, made of candy and puppies. Obviously, this may not be 100% accurate if you're the cynical, skeptical type, but I think that we could take this pretty much at face value. Why would Ubisoft make this up? There's no reason for any company to make something like this up. It's not exactly a good thing to be saying to people, yeah, we have a loss of $131 million. Even for a company as big as Ubisoft, who, as I said, are expecting to make $1.37 billion, even that's not enough to make a profit. And that just kind of says it all about the rising development costs of AAA games. Now, I really hope that the cost of developing games does tend to start to taper off and maybe even decline, but I just don't know. With the games needing to get bigger, better and flashier, costs are maybe only going to rise, but I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about how expensive games are getting. It's going to make, even for the big companies, very difficult to make any real money and for them to actually keep going. So hopefully we'll see something happen in gaming soon where the costs are stop skyrocketing so much, because when it's costing them, $56 million rise in research and development, that kind of says it all. Now, R&D is obviously needed. They need that to research their games. They need it to develop. They need it to just make sure they're still making quality products. And Ubisoft, they generally do make quality products. Even if you're not a huge fan of their big franchises, you can't argue that their games are bad, even if they're not for you. That's perfectly fine, obviously. But they always make quality games, and quality games cost money, unfortunately. So I really, really hope that we see a turn for the better for Ubisoft. If they were to keep going this way and eventually close down, that would not be a good time, I don't think. Ubisoft makes some really good games and some really interesting games, and as I said, they're one of my favourite developers, and I would really hate to see them go anywhere due to financial problems and development costs. Now, obviously, that's not going to be happening anytime soon, if it does end up happening, touch wood. But still, it's not a amount to sniff at, really. $131 million is quite a huge chunk of change, even for a company as big as Ubisoft. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.